Get ready for the dictation. Start. The Supreme Court of North Carolina had examined the meaning of the word issue in the context of issuance of summons under sections 199 and 161 of the Code of North Carolina enacted March 2, 1883 and observed as under. An action is commenced by issuing a summons code section 199 and an action is commenced when a summons is issued against a defendant code section 161. This involves the question as to what is meant by the word issue, and we are of the opinion that it means going out of the hands of the clerk, expressed or implied, to be delivered to the sheriff for service. If the clerk delivers it to the sheriff to be served, it is then issued, or if the clerk delivers it to the plaintiff or someone else to be delivered by him to the sheriff, this is an issue of the summons, or as is often the case, if the summons is filled out by the attorney of plaintiff and put in the hands of the sheriff, this is done by the implied consent of the clerk, and in our opinion constitutes an issuance from the time it is placed in the hands of the sheriff for service. We find no reason to interpret the word issue as used in Regulation 21 of CBLR in any way other than its plain meaning in the context of issue of summons or notices. The same would be issued when they are prepared and put in the course for communicating to the recipient. We are unable to accept that the decision in the case of Kundan Lal Bihari Lal is determinative of the question as to the meaning of the term issue as used in Regulation 21 of the CBLR. First of all, the decision in Kundan Lal Bihari Lal was rendered in the context of Section 18(2)(a) of the Wealth Tax Act 1957. Section 18(2)(a) enabled the Commissioner of Wealth Tax to reduce or waive penalty in case where he was satisfied that the assessee had, prior to the issue of notice to him, voluntarily and in good faith made full disclosure of his wealth. The object of imposing the condition of full disclosure prior to issue of notice was to mitigate the penalties liable to be levied on the assessees who had, without notice of initiation of proceedings under the Wealth Tax Act 1957, made full disclosure of their wealth in good faith. Thus, flowing from the principle of purposive interpretation, the expression prior to issue of notice was interpreted to mean prior to service of notice. This decision is not an authority for the proposition that the word issue and serve are used as synonyms in all Indian statutes. Second, that the said decision rested entirely on the decision of Banarsi Devi and Sri Nivas and others. The decision in the case of Banarsi Devi was rendered in the context of Section 34(1) of the Income Tax Act 1922. In terms of Section 34(1)(b) of the Income Tax Act 1922, the income tax officer was required to serve a notice on the assessee before proceeding to assess or reassess income from profit gains which he had reason to believe had escaped assessment or was under-assessed. It is important to note that the word used in subsection 34(1)(b) of the Income Tax Act 1922 was served and not issued. In Banarsi Devi, the date of the notice for reopening the assessments was within the 8 years from the end of the relevant assessment year, but the same was served beyond the period of 8 years. One of the questions that arose for consideration of the court in that case related to the interpretation of Section 4 of the Indian Income Tax Amendment Act 1959. Hereafter, the amending act, the object of the said section was to save the validity of the notices which were issued beyond the prescribed time. Section 4 of the amending act used the word issue. Stop. Hello shorthandians, welcome to my YouTube चैनल। ऐसे ही और हार्ड वर्ड्स की आउटलाइन और वर्ड्स डिफ्रेंसिएशन की वीडियोस के लिए प्लीज़ वीडियो को लाइक शेयर और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें एंड डोंट फॉरगेट टू प्रेस द बेल आइकन। थैंक यू।